मैं हूं आपका दोस्त और होस्ट सीए मयूर राजपूत और मैं आपका स्वागत करता हूं मेरे आज के इस नए वीडियो में। आज के हमारे वीडियो का टॉपिक है अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 4 कंटिजेंसीज एंड इवेंट्स अकरिंग आफ्टर बैलेंस शीट डेट। ये एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड है और इसकी प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेबिलिटी हमें इंडस्ट्री में काफी जगह देखने मिलती है। आज हम इस स्टैंडर्ड को क्विकली रिवाइज करेंगे और आज आपको इस स्टैंडर्ड की फुल कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी। आज के नोट्स का लिंक मैंने इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में अपलोड कर दिया है, आप वहां से नोट्स डाउनलोड कर लीजिएगा। और एक बहुत जरूरी बात, आज के स्टैंडर्ड से रिलेटेड मैंने कुछ प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में अपलोड किए हैं। ये वीडियो पूरा देखने के बाद आप उन क्वेश्चंस को जरूर अटेम्प्ट कीजिएगा। उन क्वेश्चंस में 3 से 4 मैंने ऐसे क्वेश्चंस इंक्लूड किए हैं जो इंडस्ट्री के सामने प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस आते हैं उनसे रिलेटेड है। तो उन सभी क्वेश्चंस को करने के बाद आपको इस स्टैंडर्ड की फुल कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी हो जाएगी। सो गाइस, वॉच दिस वीडियो टिल द एंड। लेट्स स्टार्ट आवर टुडेज डिस्कशन।
First, we will discuss about the contingency part. A contingency is a condition or situation, the ultimate outcome of which, gain or loss, will be known or determined only on the occurrence or non-occurrence of one or more uncertain future events. For example, there is a possibility that in future an enterprise asset may get acquired compulsorily by the government, but the compensation which would be given will be less than the carrying amount of the asset, which will lead to the contingent loss to the enterprise. Now let us discuss the points regarding the accounting treatment of contingency. Requirements relating to contingencies are applicable only to the extent not covered by any other accounting standard. For example, impairment of financial assets such as impairment of receivables, which we commonly know as provision for doubtful debts, is governed by this standard. Contingent gains should not be recognized in the financial statements. Contingent loss should be provided for by a charge in the statement of profit and loss if both these following conditions are fulfilled. First, it is probable that future events will confirm, after taking into account any related probable recovery, that an asset has been impaired or a liability has been incurred as at balance sheet date, and a reasonable estimate of the amount of resulting loss can be made. However, if either of the above conditions is not met, the existence of a contingent loss should be disclosed in the financial statements unless the possibility of loss is remote. Now, let's discuss about the events occurring after balance sheet date. So, first we will understand what are events occurring after balance sheet date. These are those significant events, both favorable and unfavorable, that occur between the balance sheet date and the date on which financial statements are approved by the approving authority. Here, approving authority means, in case of companies, board of directors, and in other cases, relevant approving authorities. Now, this accounting standard prescribes two types of events occurring out after balance sheet date. First, adjusting events, and second, non-adjusting events. Adjusting events are those events which provide further evidence of conditions that existed at balance sheet date, while non-adjusting events are those events which are indicative of conditions that arose subsequent to balance sheet date. We'll discuss a few examples bit later in this video regarding both these types of events. But there is one exception to this rule. Let us see what it is. An event occurring after balance sheet date should be an adjusting event, even if it does not reflect any condition existing on the balance sheet date, if the event indicates that the going concern assumption is no more appropriate. Now, let us discuss the accounting treatment and disclosures regarding adjusting events and non-adjusting events. In case of adjusting events, adjustments to assets and liabilities is required, and also disclosure is required in the financial statements. However, in case of non-adjusting events, adjustment to assets and liabilities is not required. Disclosure is required in the report of approving authority. Now, let us discuss one important adjustment which is provided in this accounting standard, which is related to dividend. If dividends are declared after balance sheet date, but before the financial statements are approved for issue, these dividends are not to be recognized as a liability at balance sheet date because no obligation exists at that time unless a statute requires otherwise. Such dividends are disclosed in the notes. Also, no liability for proposed dividends has to be created. Now, let us discuss a few examples which are relevant to this accounting standard. But before that, I would request you to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Let us see the first example. In A Company Limited, theft of rupees 3 lakhs was committed by the accountant in February 2018, which was detected in May 2018. The accounts of the company were not yet approved. Whether the theft of cash must be adjusted in the accounts of the company as on 31st March 2018. So, this is an event occurring after balance sheet date as the fraud got detected in May 2018. Also, this is an adjusting event because the fraud was committed in February 2018 and the conditions of fraud were existent as on 31st March 2018, only the fraud was not detected by that time. So, if fraud pertaining to accounting period is detected after balance sheet date but before approval of financial statements, it is necessary to recognize loss of rupees 3 lakhs in the accounts for the year ended 31st March 2018. Let us discuss an example of the exception which we understood earlier. Suppose there is a major loss in warehouses or factories of an enterprise due to destruction caused by earthquake, flood, fire after the balance sheet date but before the approval of financial statement, and it also affects the existence and substratum of the enterprise and renders the going concern assumption inappropriate. Although there were no conditions existing for the earthquake, flood and fire on the balance sheet date, but these events took place before the approval of financial statements and they also render the going concern assumption inappropriate. So, adjustment of such losses should be done to assets, liabilities, incomes or expenses. Let us see our last example. The company has invested 90 lakhs in April 2018 before approval of financial statements in another company with similar business. How would you deal with this financial information? Acquisition of another company is an event occurring after balance sheet date. However, no adjustment to assets and liabilities is required as the event does not affect the determination and condition of amounts stated in the financial statements as on 31st March 2018. Thereby, disclosure should be made in the report of approving authority as the event represent material changes and commitments affecting the financial position of the enterprise.
So guys, that was all about our today's video. अगर आपको आज का ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा तो गिव इट अ थम्स अप और कमेंट बॉक्स में मुझे कमेंट करके बताएं आपको आज का ये वीडियो कैसा लगा। और अगर प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन से रिलेटेड या किसी भी कॉन्सेप्ट से रिलेटेड आपके कोई भी डाउट हो तो आप कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट करके अपने डाउट्स मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं। मैंने इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में अपने सोशल लिंक्स भी अपलोड किए हैं, तो आप वहां मुझे मैसेज करके वहां पे भी अपनी क्वेरीज पूछ सकते हैं। I will try to resolve all your queries within the next 24 hours. And also, don't forget to watch my previous videos on Accounting Standard 29 and Accounting Standard 10. and follow me on all my social links to stay updated regarding my video content. And at last, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video.